Hello everyone and welcome back to your very own channel Divya English class. So today we are going to read a wonderful story. The name of the story is Chandni. So let's see who is Chandni and what happens in the story. Once upon a time there was an old man who lived in a place called Almora. The old man was known as Abu Khan. Abu Khan lived all alone. He had no family members or anyone living with him. He was all alone except for a few goats which were his pets. He loved goats and enjoyed giving them funny names like Kalua, Mungia and Gujri. Abu Khan would take the goats out in field where the goats would eat some grass. He talked to his pet in a way that was similar to how a person talked to his or her own children. Hence, he regarded the goats not as pets, but as his own children. At night, he would bring all his goats back to his little hut. He would put a string round the neck of each goat so that they would not run away. The goats did not have the freedom to go anywhere at night. The reason behind this was Abu Khan was a little unlucky in the matter of his goats because at night one of the goats would pull and pull continuously at the string till it broke loose. They did this very often, and after the string would break, they would go so far away from Abu Khan's little hut that it felt like they had disappeared in the further side of the hills. Goats in hilly regions hated being tied to trees or poles. Abu Khan's goats were considered to be the best hilly goats. Like any other goat or breed, they too loved their freedom. So whenever they would get a chance, they would break from the string and run away towards the hills. However, they would get killed by an old wolf who lived in the hills. Abu Khan loved all his pet goats. So whenever one of his goats would disappear in the hills, he would become very sad. He did not understand why the goats would run away from him. He provided them the juiciest grass and greens and other excellent facilities which most goats don't get. However, the goats would leave all these things and run towards the hills, where they would run straight into the jaws of death. Abu Khan was so caring that he was not ready to accept their ill fate. He was sad that he could not stop the goats from going to the hills and being killed by the wolf. Sometimes he wondered if their love for freedom caused them to do such a thing. But he did not find freedom to be as valuable and beautiful as the goats did. So this remained a mystery to him. On the day when all the pet goats had left him, he said to himself that he would not keep any goats in his house ever again. He thought that even though he would live on for a few years more, he would live on alone and without goats. However, he did not have the strength and the determination to live alone. He felt so lonely that it started to affect him. He realized that he could not live without his pets. After that, he soon bought a young goat. There was a specific reason as to why he bought a young goat. He thought that a young goat would stay with him much longer than an adult goat. He thought she would love his care and food more than hills and freedom. The new goat was very pretty. The new goat was a young goat whose color was as white as snow. She had two little horns on her head and a pair of red eyes and very glittery and shiny. The nature and behavior of the young goat was friendly. She listened to Abu Khan's stories with interest and love. Hence, the young goat was everything Abu Khan wanted in a new pet. The goat was really attached to him. The name given to the goat was Chandni, which means moonlight in English. Moonlight means light coming from the moon. Abu Khan loved Chandni and he used to tell stories of his friends who at that time were either dead or had gone away. Several years passed, but Chandni was still there and she did not do anything against his wishes. Because of this, Abu Khan believed that Chandni would never want to leave his compound. He believed that she would not want to feel the free and fresh air of the hills. However, Once again, he was mistaken, as the young goat started to grow fondness for the hills too. Every morning, Chandni would watch the top of the hills. The hills were filled with bright sunlight and looked very beautiful. She would look at the hilltops lovingly, thinking of how refreshing the breeze and lovely the green fields would be. After watching the beautiful scenery, she would run towards the hill as she was so attracted by the landscape's beauty. But she could not go towards the hill as the rope around her neck would stop her from going any further. When this would happen, she would hate the rope for stopping her from going to the hills. Chandni lost her interest in all the things she liked before. She stopped eating the green grass Abu Khan brought for her. She stopped listening to his stories with interest and affection. Hence, she lost her interest in everything Abu Khan provided her, and she now only wanted to go to the hills. Slowly, she lost her hunger and her will to eat. She did only one thing, and that was staring at the hilltops with a mixture of anger and sadness. Since she had stopped eating anything, she grew thinner and thinner with each day. Abu Khan, who noticed this change in not only her appearance but also in her behavior, could not understand what was happening to her. He could not understand what she was going through and why she was so sad. Then one day, Chandni decided to be honest with him and tell him why she was so sad. She requested Abu Khan to let her go to the hills. She also said that if she stayed in his compound, she would die. Abu Khan now finally understood that she too loved the hills, but he was unhappy to know this as he did not want to lose another goat. He became so sad that the pot, which was made of earth and contained Chandni's breakfast, fell from his hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. Abu Khan asked her why she wanted to leave him. Chandni answered that she just wanted to go to the hills. Abu Khan asked if she did not like the food he provided. He then offered tastier food and a longer rope, hoping that this offer would stop her from leaving him. Chandni politely turned down the offer. She thanked him and then repeated her request. Abu Khan then decided to use another technique to make Chandni stay with him. He told her about the danger that was in the hills. He told her that a dangerous wolf lived in the hills who would eat her up. He did his best to warn her. However, this did not work. She answered that she would use the pair of horns God had provided her. Hence, she did not want Abu Khan's protection, and she was confident that she could take care of herself. Abu Khan did not believe that Chandni could fight the wolf all by herself. He then asked her if she had forgotten the story of her sister Kalua, who was as big as deer. Kalua had fought the wolf throughout the night, but in the end, she got killed in the morning. He then began to tell the whole story again for the 50th time. To all of his explanations and to this story, Chandni had only one thing to say, and that was that she wanted to go to the hills. At that moment, she was not afraid of any wolf, she only desired freedom. Abu Khan was expecting Chandni to obey him. When she remained determined to act against his wishes, he became very annoyed. He spoke loudly and angrily to Chandni and decided to take away her freedom. Chandni was transferred to a small hut, and now she did not have the freedom to roam freely in the compound. Abu Khan said that even though she was ungrateful, it was important to save her from the wolf. He forcefully took her and pushed her into the small hut. He shut the door so that she could not escape. But he was so angry that he forgot to close the small window at the back. The same night, Chandni used the small window as a narrow way to freedom. Chandni was finally free, and she reached the hills. Wherever she went, the tall grass stood up to hug her. The flowers welcomed her. The wind blowing on the hills sang a song of welcome which did not seem to end. All this made Chandni feel like her past in Abu Khan's compound was much different than being on the hills. She felt as if she was imprisoned in Abu Khan's compound till now. Finally, she got her freedom. It was the happiest day in Chandni's life. She had never felt so happy while living with Abu Khan. That day, she played for hours on the slopes of hills which were covered with grass. After that, she met a group of wild goats. The group asked her to join them. However, Chandni politely refused because she wanted to be alone. She wanted to enjoy her newly found freedom all by herself. Slowly, the day ended. The sun disappeared behind the hills. Everything was surrounded with darkness, including the grass, the flowers, the trees. The wind stopped blowing, and the pleasantness of the hill had been replaced with stillness. There was no sign of movement except for a strange sound which was coming from the bushes. The strange sound was neither Abu Khan calling her back nor of another goat. Then Chandni thought if the sound was of the dangerous wolf who lived in the hills. When she thought of the wolf, she felt scared. She asked herself if she should go back to Abu Khan's hut where she would be safe. She answered no, because she believed that dying in an open field when free is much better than spending your entire life in a small hut. The wolf finally had come out of the bushes. He was staring greedily at Chandni. His eyes were shining like burning coals. The darkness made his eyes more shiny. He was not moving fast, and he looked as if he was in no hurry to kill the goat. He knew that he surely would kill the goat. The wolf and goat measured each other. The wolf was violent and big in size. Compared to him, the goat was totally the opposite. She was healthy but small. However, being small did not mean that she was weak. Chandni was no longer scared of the big, fierce wolf. She stood firmly on her legs. Her head was slightly bent and her horns were extending out. She looked like a picture of courage. She was looking as brave as a soldier fighting an unfaithful and selfish enemy. Chandni thought that she must put up a good fight. She decided to try her best and leave the result of the fight up to luck and chance. She did not worry about the result and wasn't thinking about winning or losing. The fight began. Both the creatures were so powerful that the fight went on through the night. The moon had been watching the fight. It became weak and it suddenly hid behind the clouds. The stars also began to disappear one by one. Hence, it suddenly became very dark. A weak light appeared in the east and the morning call for prayer came from a faraway mosque. The first ray of sunlight came upon the dead body of Chandni, which was lying on the ground. She was completely covered with blood. The wolf, who had won the fight, was tired and sleepy. He was now getting ready to eat her. A group of birds sitting on the top of a nearby tree was looking at the result of the fight. They were debating among themselves about the result of the fight. One of the birds asked everyone that who they thought the winner was. The majority of the birds said that it was obviously the wolf who was the winner. However, there was a wise old bird in the group who said in an effective way that Chandni was the real winner. The wise old bird said that Chandni was the winner because Chandni had the courage to face the wolf and had fought on till the end. She could have run away at the slightest hint of the presence of the wolf. However, she decided to stay there and stood firm on her legs. So this was the story of the courageous goat, Chandni. Now let's see what we learnt from this story. So as we know, everyone loves their freedom. This freedom is not only for humans, but it is for other creatures as well. Through this story, the author tries to tell the importance of freedom. The freedom is for all, and it is everyone's right. We should live with independence and should never hurt someone else's independence. And one should always try at least for their survival till the last breath, rather than just leaving it off, as success or failure is a matter of luck or chance. In the story, as you have seen, Chandni longed for her freedom. She overcame her fear and fought back the mighty wolf. She was not thinking about winning or losing, as it is a matter of chance. She took her chance and fought like a brave soldier. Though she was killed by the end of the fight, she was the winner, as she at least tried to protect her dream and desire of freedom. So I hope this story was interesting and inspiring for you all. See you all with another video. Thank you.